Hola clase, vamos a empezar la siguiente lección. We're going to start the next lesson. We are still continuing with irregular present tense verbs, except now we're going to focus with verbs that are irregular in the first person singular only. For this presentation, you need, of course, your manila folder. You will be adding some of these verbs to the manila folder and their meaning. And a bolígrafo. Please use a pen and not a pencil. Irregular verbs that are only in the yo form, that is in the first person singular, which is the yo. These verbs are regular in the other conjugations. Of course, as always, there would be some exceptions. Here you have a list of the verbs that you already have in your manila folder. The yo form to these 9 verbs, you'll notice that it has a go, G-O, on the first person singular. That is why I call these verbs yogo verbs. Now the first 3, these are they are all yogo verbs, but in addition to that, they are also stem changing verbs, also known as boot verbs. So in the conjugations inside the shoe, these spell changes will occur. Traer, caer, and oír, they have an I before the G. This will only occur in the yo form. And hacer, poner, and salir, these are regular yogo verbs. You simply drop the ending and add go. Other irregular in the first person verbs are these guys. Please make sure to add these to your manila folder. You already have that in the completely irregular section. You need to add caber, saber, and haber. You have the English meaning here next to them, and their conjugation in the yo form would be quepo, se, and I. Note how saber has an accent mark. Without it, it would be a pronoun. So please, the accent mark indicates that that is a verb. I know. An example of a conjugation. If I take this verb graph, I use the verb caer, to fall, and how it looks in all 6 conjugations. You'll note that this verb is regular in all the other 5 conjugations, but except in the yo form. Now, I took a verb from each of the sections, and I took another one, an additional for corregir, because if you noted, corregir is also a boot verb. And here you'll notice how the conjugations would look like for a boot verb like venir and corregir, caer, a regular verb, except of course in the yo form, and then another irregular in the yo form would be poner. Now, another group is your set and seed verbs. These verbs have a Z and a C in the first person conjugation only. You've already added these to your manila folder, but here you have them for a second time. Include any that you missed, and if you don't have the meaning to these verbs, please make sure that you do. Note how you have another verb that means to know, conocer. Conocer in this case means person or place. Yo conozco la Ciudad de México, or yo conozco a Julia Hernández. You would use this verbo. The third group of irregular yo verbs are your ending her and hir. These verbs have a J in the yo form. And please note right away, right off the back, the verb corregir, which is a stem changing verb, and it changes from E to I. You also should have these verbs in your manila folder, but if you don't, please make sure that you include them as well as the English meaning. For your tarea, there is a handout in Schoology, you need to print and complete this work. I'm asking you to write a complete sentence related to plane travel for all the verbs under the yogo section. So there are 13. Under ser and ser, in the yo form, I don't know how many there are, maybe 7 or 9. And for head and heed, I only need you to do these 3: escoger, elegir, and proteger. The handout has all the verbs of which you need to make a sentence. So you are always going to be the subject. Yo. Yo conduzco el taxi, for example, would be a sample sentence where you can use vocabulary. Or you could say el taxista. No, el taxista, no. That cannot be the subject. It has to be yo. Yo conduzco el taxi. So you got a couple of sentences to do. On the back side, I'm also asking you to practice with the conjugations to these verbs, paying close attention to the yo form. Please come to class ready to hand that in.